what's up? It's Alex. So welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you guys are a new viewer, hello, my name is Alex and thank you so much for watching my video. If you like what you see and you want to stick around, make sure you hit the red subscribe button right down below, or you can hit it wherever it's floating on the screen. And if you like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up for me, and I know you guys will like more story time videos. So this story time is going to be like kind of like a series. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, you know, like I've been back and forth with jobs, and the job I currently have is at Chick-fil-A. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form bashing Chick-fil-A. Honestly, like, I love Chick-fil-A. I love the people I work with. I love everything that they basically kind of stand for. So, but I get a lot of crazy customers at Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A is very respectful for all customers, so they don't kick anyone out or they don't do anything about it. And I really wish sometimes they would, because these particular customers honestly made me so scared. Like, not scared, more like uncomfortable. So this is going to start from basically a month into when I started working all the way until now, and I have made this like quite a few times, thinking I was going to upload it, and then as soon as I was about to upload it, something else happened. So the first time was probably like a month into it, and it was really the first real like uncomfortable situation, and it was probably the biggest as well. So a month into when I started walking, most of these stories take place in drive-through cash. And if you guys don't know what that is, like if you're from another country viewing this, basically what it is you have a speaker box where you order food, and then you drive like a little bit, like turn around a corner, and then you have a window where you take the money, you take the food, you get the drinks, etc., etc. And that's what I basically almost always do there. So I was in drive-through cash, and I remember it was like in the summertime because it was really warm and really hot, obviously. And this Jeep with all the windows and everything else comes up, and it's a son driving and a father in the passenger. And I can't remember exactly the full discussion. I really wish I could, but it happened so long ago, and my memory is just it's just not how it was when I was little. So they come up, and I get this question on a daily basis, like a daily basis. So the son goes, I really like your accent. Where are you from? And I'm not uncomfortable. When I was little, I was bullied a lot because of it. Now, I'm not really uncomfortable about it. So I say, I'm from Ukraine. And he's like, really? Wow. Like, and then the father goes, how long have you been here? And I say I've been here about like 15 years. So the son goes, wow, that's like a really long time. And I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty basic long time. And I'm like, yeah, it's been a while. Of course, we're waiting on food because life completely hates me. And it just wants to make my life sometimes a very uncomfortable situation. So the father goes, so at this point, this isn't the first time I was flirted with. So I kind of understand, like, they were just being super, flirty. Like, they weren't just asking, like, oh, like, where are you from or something like that. Like, I get that on a daily basis. So I know when it's just a question, and then I know when it's like, you know what I mean. I guess. I don't even know if you know what I mean. But I'm gonna hope you know what I mean, because I can't explain it all that well. So I have a man just standing right next to me this entire time. And then the father goes, so this entire time I was trying to fit away that I have a boyfriend in this conversation, because if you're a puny white girl like me, I always try to find a way to mention I have a boyfriend, because that usually gets people to stay away from me. Not all the time, but most of the time. So I was trying to find a way to squeeze in I have a boyfriend this entire like 40 second conversation. Keep in mind, it's not that long. And so the father goes, so how do you like American guys? I'm like, bingo, like, ding. So I go, well, American guys are okay, but my boyfriend's Filipino. And their faces are like, oh. And I'm like, thank you. So he's like, oh, how long have you guys been in a relationship for? I'm like, oh, God. So at this time, it was only been like maybe like 6 months or something like that, like average, I guess. And I'm like, we've been together for like a half a year or so. And finally the food comes out, like when the conversation's starting to end, and they drive away, And the manager turns to me and he's like, were they flirting with you? Was the father flirting with you? And I'm like, yeah, I think he was. And I think that was the first time I legit had a father and a son flirt with me. Like, it was super awkward and super uncomfortable. I'm like, you are like 10 times my age, so, and he is like, looks way too young for me. Oh my God. Not to mention, I have a boyfriend. So, right there, I was like, oh my God. So, a couple days after that, it wasn't even like a couple weeks, it was like couple days, I was in drive-thru again, because that's where all the freaking crazy people are, apparently. And they come in a red sedan. I even remember the car because it was so creepy. Like, this was literally creepy. This wasn't even uncomfortable. This was creepy. And again, I have one of my managers standing right next to me because I usually have some bagging for me. And then I have the person that's on headset right behind me. So, and this particular time, she didn't have anyone. So I had both people, like, eyewitness to this. And a red sedan pulls up. And there's either 3 or 4 people. I couldn't see the person behind, like, the passenger seat. I couldn't see if there's someone behind there. But there was 2 people in the front and 1 person right behind the driver's seat. Sorry, I'm a little sick. So that's why I sound, like, all nasally and congested and stuff. That's why it just hasn't been a good few days. So they pull up, and I'm talking primarily to the driving person because that's who I interact with the most. So he hands me cash, and I remember it's cash, and again, we're waiting on food. Thank you, kitchen. And he hand him the cash back, and I turn away to talk to my manager to see how much longer the food is. And you know when, like, you get the hair on your back starts, like, sticking up and everything, and you feel like someone's just staring at you? Well, that's how I felt. Like, I felt super uncomfortable. And I'm like, who could be staring at me? And at this time, I didn't see that there was someone in the back seat. I only saw those 2 people in the front. So I turn around and I look back at the car to see if maybe they wanted something. And primarily people would be like, excuse me, something like that. Like, they wouldn't stare at me, but I'm like, who knows? And I see someone in the back of the driver's seat, and he's looking up at me like no one else, and he's just staring at me. And I mean, like just dead stare at me. So I turned to my manager, and I'm like, do you see that? And I'm like hallucinating. And she turns and she goes like that. And she's like, that guy is just staring at you. So we're waiting on food still, and the person that's on the headset is like looking back like a few seconds because she feels it. Like, it's just a pointly blank stare. Like, he didn't look away. So we finally get food, like a minute of full just staring at me, getting like shivers up and down my spine. And she gives me my food, I give it to the driver, and I say, have a wonderful day. And they drive off, and the manager turns to me, and I was walking home because, again, it was summer, nice out, and I live only a few minutes away, like 10-15 minute walking. So she's like, are you going to be okay, like, walking home? Like, I will find someone to, like, drop you off home. Because she was legit concerned for my safety because this guy was just staring at me. And clearly now he knows where I walk. So I say, no, I'll be okay. So this other time was again in the summertime. I think it was like a month afterwards. It was like maybe in the fall time at this point. Well, I was walking home again, and I usually always remember my headphones because, like, I'm legit addicted to my music player on my phone. Like, no, you can always find me listening to music. So I go, and I usually always remember my headphones. This particular occasion, I did not. This is the only time, the one time I forgot my headphones. And of course, life just hates me sometimes. And the number one thing, my biggest pet peeve in my freaking lifetime is like catcalling, whistling, like that kind of thing. Like, I can't stand that. Like, it just drives me insane. And I've had my fair share of catcalls. So growing up, you typically hear of getting catcalled when you're wearing like the booty shorts and like crop tops and stuff like that. And even then, you have no justification of getting catcalled, but I can understand it, I guess. I don't know. Well, I'm wearing my Chick-fil-A uniform. And if you guys have seen the Chick-fil-A uniforms, like if you're from America, so if you've seen Chick-fil-A uniforms, it's big maroon shirt with short sleeves that come to like almost my elbow with big black ugly pants. I hate the uniform. Honestly, I really do. I can't really change it though. So I'm walking home and I'm listening to nature, enjoying the beauty, and this guy stuck his entire head out of the passenger door because the way I was walking, cars were going this way towards me, turned back around to me and said, "Hey babe, can I have your number?" Like shouted. And I turned around and I had to bite my tongue to not say anything because, again, I'm a puny white girl. Like, I can't win a fight. Like, I act I could fight and I hope I could win a fight. But if it basically comes down to, and this guy was huge, like I could see the muscles and stuff. And I'm like, I will not win this fight. So I just turned back around and I started walking. And he calls, "So you're ignoring me now." Oh my God. Lord help me. So I looked back at him and I just continued on walking. I didn't say anything to this guy. And I just couldn't stand it. Like, it just drives me insane. It irks me. So what happened next was actually pretty recently. It happened in January. No. There was something before that. So this happened in like December or something like that. November, December. I was on frontline in this case. And I had one of my coworkers, and I guess one of her friends came in, and he like kind of waited until she was done, and he walked over to her so she could take his order. Well, while she was taking his order, he was like, "Oh crap, I forgot my wallet." So he walked back out, went home, came back like maybe like an hour and a half later with his wallet, and he was kind of on the side again. Keep in mind, I have never seen this person in my life before. This is the only interaction we had this entire time. And I looked at him and I said, "Did you want to wait for her to be done with her customer? Did you want to come to me?" Because I had no one and she still had a customer. And he looks at me and he's like, "Oh, I'll just wait for her." And I'm like, "Okay." So I called over the next customer and I took the next customer. I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know his name. I don't know anything. Anything about this guy. I don't know it. So a week later, me and her are walking again, and she's like, "Hey, you know that kid that like came in, that was one of my friends?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember him. What about him?" And I was expecting like he got like hurt or injured or something like that. And she goes, "Well, he thinks you're really cute. I was wondering if you could have your number." I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I'm like, "Well, did you tell him I have a boyfriend?" Because again, that's just how I get out of awkward situations. And she's like, "Yeah, I told him." And I'm like, "Well, what did he say?" And he was like, "Well, he still was wondering if you're interested." I'm like, why do people always assume this about me? Do I literally give off that persona that's saying like cheater, like labeled on my forehead? Like, no. So I'm like, "Well, can you tell him no thanks, I'm good?" And she's like, "Good response." And I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, "Well, because honestly, he's really stupid and a player." And I'm like, oh, that explains so much. So a couple of days after that, she turns to me and she's like, "Hey, you know that kid that wanted your number?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what about him?" And she's like, "Well, like a couple days after like he asked for your number, he got a girlfriend." Really now? I would not expect that at all. Like, at all. So I'm like, good for him. And I'm like, let's see how long he keeps this one. Oh my God. So then these people also made me highly uncomfortable, like really creeped out, like sketched, like to the max. So usually when people go through drive-thru, they grab their food and they go to whatever destination they want to go. If they come in, they usually want to eat in or carry out or whatever. They just want to come inside. But if it's like raining and stuff like that, like they usually come through drive-thru because they don't want to get out of the car. I feel like it was raining or it was cold and stuff like that, whatever. So usually they grab their food and they drive off to wherever they're going, work, school, home, I don't really know. Well, these two people, it was two people in a car, two guys, front and passenger seat, and they pull up. Nothing creepy about the entire situation. We had the food ready. I grabbed the cash or the card, whatever they used, handed them the food, handed out their drinks, said, "Have a wonderful day." These people drove around the car where usually you go out they drove around and they parked. And we have a pretty big parking spot, not as big as it should be, right in front of drive-through cash. And there was tons and tons of parking. Like, I don't want to comment saying like, well, they could, maybe it was the, no. Like, they had plenty of open parking spaces. They choose to park at the one that's right across from my window and park right there. And they start eating. And right away, I'm like, there's something really weird, but there was cars still coming. It wasn't slow. So I'm like, I'll just ignore it. Well, couple minutes, we slowed down a little bit, and they were still there, and they were still eating. So I turn around, and I'm talking to my manager. It's the same manager who was there when that guy stared at me. And I'm like, those people are not leaving. Like, and we can't do anything about it. I know. I really wish we could, because they were just sketching me out so much. And from my peripheral vision, I saw them both stop eating like this, like talking like this, and turn around and start staring directly at me and start eating like this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so sketch. So I turn around, and then as soon as I turn around, they like pretend to like turn around back again, start like talking to themselves again. And this was going on for like a straight like 10 minutes, you guys. Like pretending to like talk to each other and talk when I wasn't looking, and then like look at me when I wasn't looking. And finally, after 10 minutes of this, they finally drove off. And I'm like, I'm legit so creeped out. Like, I'm so creeped out. Oops, excuse me. I'm so creeped out. I'm like, this people. So nothing happened for a while, and then couple days ago, maybe like a week, which is why I didn't upload, because I was waiting to see if anything else was gonna happen. I was on Frontline again, and this guy comes up. He came in line twice. The first time he came up, I had him both times. And the first time I had him, I instantly got like the radar, like creepy, creepy, creepy alert, like flashing lights. And I was like, okay, like I'm watching my back on this one, because he just looked so sketch. So I greet him, I take his order, I hand him the receipt, everything goes fine, and I say, have a wonderful day, and he walks away. And I'm like, okay, maybe like my radar was like malfunctioning or something like that. Of course not. Of course not. He comes back in line like maybe like 10-15 minutes later, and I have the lovely pleasure of having him again. And I take his order. He only ordered like one thing to go or something like this. I hand him the receipt, and he goes like this. Like, keep in mind, this is like a 50-year-old man, super sketch. And he goes, you have really nice skin. I'm like, I was honestly stunned. Like, I had no idea like what I should say to this, because I didn't really take it as like a compliment. I mostly took it as, I'm like a fucking serial killer, and I'm going to like skin you alive. Like, I was so creeped out. Like, he looked creepy. He looked so sketch. And like doing this, like, I swear the only thing that could have made it worse was if he did it to me myself. Like, he did it to his own skin, which, oh my God, just gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I go, thank you. Because what are you supposed to say to that? And I couldn't really like cuss the guy out, because I was at work. Like, I would get in trouble. So he walks off, and I'm like, that was honestly super sketchy. Like, I was so creeped out. Like, I had chills all over me. I had like tingles going down my spine. I was like, I'm so creeped out. Thankfully, I have not seen him since, because I would probably run away screaming. So that same day, I go to drive-through cash because someone had to go on break. And I saw this car pull up, and they came in before, like once, that when I had him. They might have came more, I don't really know. And it's a mom, and I'm guessing it's her 3 sons. Unless one of them is like a friend of them, I honestly don't know. And I don't want to be mean, I guess, and I don't want these comments saying like, oh, you're like, ugh, I don't even know what people would say. But they honestly reminded me of like kind of like hillbillies sort of thing. Like, I don't really know like what category to put them in. Like, I sound like such an ass. Like, I honestly just sound like an asshole right now. God, I hate myself. So whatever people they are, they creep me out. So the first time they came in, like through drive-through cash, I really didn't like pay attention to them much. They were like smirking and like giggling or something like that, and I really didn't like know what to think about it. Like I'm like, eh. But this time they came in, they immediately started like laughing and chuckling and like whistling. And you all know how I hate whistling. And I'm like, oh my God. So I had a different manager next to me at this point. And again, we were waiting on kitchen. What a shock, right? So we're waiting on kitchen, and they keep like smirking and like like chuckling and smirking and whistling and like murmuring, like you can't understand anything they're saying, but you know they're talking about you. Like just so disrespectful and so inappropriate, and like, why do you guys do this? So finally the freaking food comes, and I walk to bag it, and I handed it to them, and I'm like, have a wonderful day. And these people, usually people like grab it and usually drive off. This mother, I'm guessing, was like doing everything so slowly. I mean, like to the point of maybe like 110-year-old woman, so slowly. She was like putting everything so slowly in her wallet, like putting her wallet in her purse, handing the food to her son, I guess. And I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. Because at this point, they're still smoking and they're still chuckling and they're still catcalling me. And I'm like, I've had enough of this. So I see my manager start like pulling a bag. And I'm like, I need to like get out of this situation because I was so uncomfortable. So I walk over around her to like stand next to her. She's closer to the window at this point. And I grab a bag. And she turns to me. And she's like, oh, I have it. And I'm like, I know you have it, but I need to pretend I'm doing something so they can leave. And she's like, what are they doing? And I'm like, they're just hassling me. Like, did I say hassling? Yeah, they're hassling me. No, they're harassing me. And again, they can't do anything. I really wish they could sometimes. And she's like, oh. So she puts the bag kind of like down, like pretending to like not bag so I can bag. So I start bagging the next order that's coming. And they finally drive off when they see I'm not coming back to the window. And I'm like, it's just super uncomfortable. Like, it's just super uncomfortable. Anyway, so this is all the creepy, flirting, catcalling, whistling stories I have. I just spit like everywhere. Hopefully, I don't have any more incidents. But, you know, negative attention draws negative attention. So making this video is probably not the best situation. But did it for the YouTube. Did it for you guys. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure again to give it a thumbs up. And if you want any more like stories, like please let me know in the comments below, because honestly I would love to make them for you. I have endless amount of stories I can tell for you guys. So I will see you again next week with a brand new video. I love you guys to the moon and back, and have a wonderful day. Bye guys. Crazy over you. I ain't worried about nothing. I am wearing a nada. I'm sick.